What is up, guys? It is the Sound Alchemist, and today we are joined
by Gersh 1, kind of, even though I'm here all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And welcome to another episode of For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question, because we get to those questions first. And that is what good old Pineapple did. He or she asks, which DnD class would each Primarch be in DnD? Because the Emperor would be the DM. So let's start out with number 1, the Lion. Who do you think the Lion would be? I feel like he would be a Ranger. Just because he went out...
Yeah, Caliban and fighting lions.
Basically.
Yeah.
And then number 2 is the Lost one. So we won't talk about him. Number 3. Who's the third one?
I don't know them in order. I'm surprised you were going. I'm like, oh shit.
Fine, but Sanguinius.
Sanguinius has to be an Aasimar. He's got angel wings. Aasimars can do that. And he's got ass.
What about class, though? He's like... Would he be a paladin?
Yeah, I guess they'd all be paladins if you look at it. Well, at least not the chaos ones.
Or Magnus. Magnus would be a... What's the difference between a wizard, sorcerer, and... what's the other one?
Sorcerers have a deity that gives them power. Wizards just know it. Like, they study it, they write it in their book.
He'll definitely be a wizard, then.
And sorcerers gain it through, like, bloodline or, like, through something else. That's not a patron god.
So they're like the typical witches.
Pretty much.
Yeah, oh, okay. Lehman Russ would be a druid, I feel. Right?
Yeah, because I guess, like, his psychers are, like, rune priests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vulcan. A cleric, because of the Promethean cult. And then, even though Lorgar would be kind of like a cleric, too.
Yeah, kind of. I could see it.
Yeah.
Gilliman?
Gilliman would be like a warrior. Or... a fighter, maybe?
Fighter?
Or barbarian?
I don't think he's barbarian. That's more like Angron.
Angron would be a barbarian, yeah. But yeah, I feel like Gilliman is like an honorable fighter. So like... a paladin, I guess, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then as far as chaos, Conrad Kurz.
He's dark, gloomy, tall, dark, and handsome. Suicidal-y.
There is no class for suicidal characters, right?
You gotta make them like edgy.
Yeah, edgy. I think once we deal with like the bad guys, or the traitor Primarchs, they're pretty much all...
There is no good and evil in 40K.
They're pretty much all sorcerers.
Yeah, pretty much, because they all get power from their patron gods.
Yeah, with the exception of like... Oh, what about Perturabo? What do you think? What class Perturabo would be? Because he's like a builder.
Like an artificer kind of guy. Because I think in like the SCAG, you have like artificers and like technology guys.
Yeah. But I don't know if there's a class for it.
Yeah.
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 Pretty fun. Next question.
This one's by Brian B. I'm allergic to bees. In the summer, is the window to the warp always open?
No, it can't be. That's how the bees come in.
I'm allergic to them.
Next question comes from the Senate 2. Do you know which chapter has the most dreadnoughts?
I'd say the Iron Hands. Because they're all, like, iron.
Basically. Next question comes from... Trox HD. Do you think that the old ones will ever have a comeback? And what would be the reaction to the Imperium, or of the Imperium?
Don't call it a comeback. Oh, yeah. They're coming back. I feel like they're such an integral part in the past that they'll make a recurrence. Because you have to look to the past to predict the future. And they're coming back in one way or another. Maybe they're the way that the Emperor revives. Maybe not.
I think we're going to see it with the Blackstone Fortress. I think in the Blackstone Fortress, like, something's going to show up where it's like, this was an old one. Or the old one still exists somehow.
Or the old one wants his golden throne back. And it's like, well, he's half dead and he's all nasty and gooey. So let me revive the Emperor so he can get up.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. Yeah. Next question comes from Defool06. His is a pretty long one. Do Primarchs have birthdays? If they do, how do they celebrate them? No, they do not.
Whew, that was a long question.
Well, there's more to it. But yeah, do they have birthdays?
Not really. I mean, they're all like test tube, like
Babies.
gene, project stuff.
Even though Sanguinius does have his...
Sanguinella. But
What
isn't
is-
that like Christmas though?
Well, Christmas is Christ's birth. So Sanguinella...
The birth of Sanguinius?
Yeah. Do Space Marines remember their birthdays?
Nah, probably not. Because of the whole indoctrination into becoming a Space Marine. You kind of forget your past.
And how are birthdays celebrated within the 40K universe? They're not.
Estas son las... That's all they wake up to.
Yeah. No, but the interesting thing about the 40K universe is the time anomaly. So while you might say that you were born on this day on this planet, you traveling away from that planet and gravity changes time and the warp, and so you might be older than you actually are. Who knows, man? Life is crazy.
Life is strange.
Next question.
Defool06. Can Rogel Dorn come back as a dreadnought or even a knight? A knight, no. Because knights are strictly for knightly houses. And unless he, like, when he went into, like, the warp or whatever he did to escape, maybe he went into, like, a knightly world and then he's piloting a knight, but I doubt it. So because of that, I'll say dreadnought is a possibility, but probably not.
Next question comes from the Lone Penguin, and then you have a picture of a koala. So that doesn't make any sense.
I don't assume, Gersh.
he's a trans... No, what's it called? Because you could be transracial. This would be transracial, right?
Trans-speciesists.
Yeah, there you go. Do your significant others / family members also play or read the lore of Warhammer? I want to get my brother into it, but I don't know the best way to.
Force him until he does it.
Yeah.
Just like tie him in a chair and like throw minis at him.
Or send him like... Kind of try to figure out if he's into science fiction.
I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's tough getting people involved into a hobby that they might not be interested in. If they're the types, if you're, did you say little brother? No, you just said brother. If your brother's into like Star Wars and sci-fi and that kind of stuff, then 40K is going to be an easy like thing to pick up. If he's into fantasy, kind of guide him more towards chaos and like the stories of like demons coming out and like wreaking havoc. Or yeah, for fantasy, that's pretty. The warp is the fantasy part of 40K, and then the tabletop. It's tough. So most people would not find sitting or standing for 6 hours and playing a game fun, especially when you just started playing. So maybe ease him into it with Kill Team. But yeah. And do we have any significant others or family members? We're a family, so yeah, that's about it.
We're significant.
Others. Next question.
Robert Has Downs Jr. If you could pitch a TV or internet show to GW and they guaranteed a go-ahead, what would it be? Mine would be a cartoon high school series where Space Marine founding chapters play as stereotypical high school kids.
That'd be horrible. I would kill myself if I ever watched that.
And he said he'd do this just to F with the hobbyists.
Yeah, it is fun to mess with them, which is why I would, which is why I would pitch the idea of having an all-female Space Marine cast.
There's people that'll still watch that.
And yeah,
I'd probably make it something like Hell's Kitchen, where each Primarch has to make a dish for Gordon Ramsay, and he just goes in and just like wrecks their life.
Or an internet TV series where it's like Hot Ones, but with each Primarch
Going through it.
Yeah.
It's like, Mortarion, I hate this dish more than you hate yourself.
And each wing sauce represents one of the chapters. So like the first one would be like a chicken wing covered in blood to represent blood angels.
Yeah.
The next one in like dog fur. Yeah, so on and so forth. And so you get to the last one, and the last dab is actually just one of the wings that was shoved up Mortarion's ass, and like it's just full of shit and goop. You have to eat that. And then Mortarion comes out, and the last dab is him just...
just the last little squirt. Ooh, corn.
Next question. Michael Howell. Can anyone in the 40K universe make a weapon, or are they ancient relics that no race can recreate? Oh, what's that word? Anathema?
Anathame. That is the sword or the weapon that gave Horus the wound that led him to that planet. Spoiler alert, that made him go chaos.
So, those are, I think, were created by the old ones, right? So.
At least that's what it seems. Yeah.
Next question.
The kangaroo boxer. What does it sound like when the orcs are going full whoa in the bathroom, but ran out of toilet paper?
Orcs don't poop.
They sweat.
Yeah, they sweat their feces.
Mm-hmm.
So, a bathroom is a concept that orcs are not familiar with. Just like
powder rooms, on the other hand.
Next question comes from Abjibi Porsbro Pedersen. If you were to be inducted into the Imperium, what position would you wish for? What war gear would you take for it, and why?
Hands down, the position would have to be missionary. The war gear that I would need for that would probably be a black carapace, because once you go black, you ain't coming back. And everything else is just not needed.
Missionary is like that, right?
Sure.
Or is it like flipped and the legs are like...
Can you spot the virgin here? That's me.
Yeah. What position would you wish for? I'm guessing he means like in the Imperial Guard. So, like, what Imperial Guard unit would you want to be a part of?
Easily the reverse cowgirl. Probably the Vestroyan, because they're pretty cool.
Vestroyan Firstborn. Mm-hmm. That's a regiment though, but like.
You said like position?
like unit. So like heavy guns.
Probably the Vestroyan. I'd want to be like a mortar team, because like that's pretty cool. You get to shoot out like mortars.
Yeah, I think I would want to be part of a heavy weapons team too, but like one with like a heavy auto gun or something like that, and that's the type of weapon that I would want. Or is it a heavy las gun?
I feel like the heavy las guns would be more reliable, because like with the heavy weapons, like shit, it jammed.
Yeah, you're right. Good question. Next one, last one. What you got?
This one's for you and for all you others. Creofan Shaw. Where can I find the rules for orc war buggies, or do they simply not get updated? Can you play them as one of the new vehicles? The Orc Codex is confusing.
It's in the Orc Codex. I don't really know if I have it on hand. I don't think I do. Yeah, I do. Shit, I don't. Oh no, here it is. So this is the Xenos. This is the Warhammer 40K Index Xenos 2. I actually turned right to it. And then there we go. So it is page 33 in the Index Xenos 2. War buggy rules are right down here.
But they're not in the actual codex?
They're in the codex too. I just don't have the codex over there. The only thing you're not going to find in the codex is the scratch-built tanks. I think that's what they're called. The looted tanks. Yep, the looted wagons, yep. But that's it. That you would have to find in the, what's the thing that came out? Chapter Approved book.
It's funny, because like the codex came out for the orcs, and then like a month later, chapter approved came out with that stuff in there. It's like, why not just put it in the codex?
Yeah, I mean, I've been in situations like that where like there's teams of people working on something, and like to the average person who gets the final product, it seems like, well, why couldn't you have just done this? But it's like, oh, you don't realize that it was like a bunch of planning ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I have to admit that why wouldn't they? Why couldn't they have just done that? But yeah, those are the questions for today. Thank you for sending those questions our way. Yeah, thanks for everything, guys.
Yep. Hit up the Patreon page, hit up the Facebook page, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
First one.
Stone Alchemist, out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.